What's going on, YouTube and This is Nobop2000. I'm here for another rant on the Pokemon GTS. And oh my god, I never thought I'd come back to this, but I just have to. With the upcoming Marshadow event, we don't know exactly what type of event it's going to be as of yet. But if it's another in-store promotional event, all I can say is fuck you Nintendo, fuck you Game Freak, fuck whatever store paid them to put it there, and most importantly, fuck Pokemon. Okay, I love Pokemon, so I don't really mean that, but I'm going to tell you right now, I am sick and tired of these promotional events. I would rather these Pokemon not be in the game than to have these promotional events, and there are some very, very good reasons as to why. Now, if you haven't seen my previous rant, I'm going to be going over some things that I already went through in that, so, you don't really need to. That was a rant more on the GTS and the Global Trade Station side of trading special Pokemon, which they changed it in the 6th gen so you can't do it, which, you'd think, oh, well, they made the special Pokemon. Well, I'm going to get into why that's a greedy move and not a, I don't know why else they would do it. So, I'm just going to show you why it's fucking greedy. But first, we got to get an understanding of how these promotional events work. So, here's how they do it. Now, you may be thinking that from the way I'm talking about it, that I think it's as bad as Call of Duty paid for supply drops or fucking Mother Base coins in Metal Gear Solid, where it's like paying microtransactions in a full retail price game. But it is just as bad. Sure, we're not the ones paying the money, but somebody is paying them to do this. Meaning, they're still making money by withholding content from the players. Meaning, and this is the important part here, that this is just as bad as putting day one DLC that no one gets, but it's on the disc. Because all their Pokemon data is in the games. We're just locked out from it. And sure, they don't have the Pokemon as catchable in the games yet, because they don't do that anymore for probably that exact same reason of people hacking the games to be able to catch them anyway, which I used to do because fuck your event shit. But here's the point I want to bring up, is that that is the greedy part. The stores do pay them. That's how these promotions work. They're paid promotional deals. Now, I don't know if this happens like that in Japan, but I know in America, these are paid promotional deals. They are only done, and you only get the Pokemon if you go to stores like this. Well, for the paid ones. For ones like I guess the redo events most recently, and some of the code events for the Mega Mewtwo X and Y stuff. That's that is completely fine. But what I do hate are the events that are, the paid promotional ones, like having to go to GameStop or having to go to McDonald's. And here's the problem with that. Well, there are multiple problems. Let's just start at one. It's greedy as fuck. Alright? Look, you're basically making cool Pokemon we're all gonna want, and then holding it back so that these stores can basically make us go in there to do it. The only way it could be any more greedy is if the stores had a policy of you have to buy a game in order to get that Pokemon. That would just be fucking horrid, but I'm glad they haven't started that yet. But the fact of the matter is, that's one problem. Another problem is availability. Now, not every store is going to support this event. Not every location. As I learned the hard way when I tried to find the Hoopa event at every McDonald's in my area. There are so many, in a 10-mile radius, there are 15 different McDonald's from my house. So, I had a lot to choose from. I went to all of them and then some. Never found any one of them supporting the Hoopa event. And that is some major horseshit that I went out of my way to find it and couldn't do it. But that's not the biggest problem. I went to Diancie to get the Diancie event at my local GameStop 1 week after it had, already been done. Guess what? They had 3 cards left. I got one of them, and I am lucky as fuck for that. But that's the problem. They had 3 cards left. And they started doing that on cards instead of doing it where you just wirelessly connect to the thing or connect to an actual station. But that means it's limited. You have a limited number to give, and unfortunately, these dumbass store clerks at fucking at these fucking places are fucking dumbasses and don't limit people to 1 per customer. They don't do that. So unfortunately, you have people coming in and getting like 5 because they're just tossing them out there. So they end up running out really quick. And that's a very, very big problem. You shouldn't be able to do that. They should limit it to 1 per customer. Fuck you wanting more than 1. I don't give a shit how many copies of the game you own. You only need 1. Fuck off. God damn. It's fucking weird. And then let's get to the next problem of why it's so fucking greedy, the GTS. I can't believe I'm talking about this again. I didn't think I'd ever need to. But god damn it, we're here, we're talking about it again. So let's talk about it. What's with the GTS? Why is it so bad that they blocked it off like that? Well, it's because now you have no alternative way of getting these Pokemon. The GTS in the 4th gen was very clunky, and in the 5th gen it was somehow worse. The 6th gen they made it work really well, actually, and the GTS became a very valid method of trading Pokemon. But I remember in the 4th gen, it was very clunky and hard to get Pokemon well. It was hard to get them, and it was just hard to find it. So, either way, let's get back into business of why they fucked it up. In the 4th gen, and I think the 5th gen, I don't think they changed it like that in the 5th gen, I don't remember, but you were able to trade all of your Pokemon, including those special event ones. Meaning that if you did manage to get multiple copies of that Pokemon, you could trade them for pretty much any other Pokemon, meaning an event you missed. Anything. Event Pokemon were worth anything. The only Pokemon that were worth more than that were Shinies and Shiny Legendary. Actually, no. Shiny Legendaries were the only ones worth more than events. But Shinies were worth more than regular Legendaries and stuff. It was weird. It all came down to personal taste, but that was a general rule. But events could get you pretty much anything, which means if you wanted a Pokemon you didn't have or missed an event or couldn't get it, you could trade this event Pokemon over. And that made it really cool and fun to do. That meant like, hey, if I didn't have Darkrai, but I did have, for some reason, 2, if I couldn't get the Darkrai event and I missed it, but I managed to have 2 games, and I managed to get 2 Arceuses, however you pronounce that, I would be able to trade one for a Darkrai, which would allow me to get that. Now, you have to go on forums and exchange friend codes just to manage to trade these Pokemon because they want to keep you from doing that. And there's only one reason why they'd want to keep you from trading these mythical Pokemon like this. It's because they're making money off of it. Well, not them. Well, yeah, actually, they are making money off of it. The stores are the ones paying. But, yeah, but, like, that's the reason. Why else would they block it off? There's no reason to do that. Other than the stores probably threaten them to stop paying them for this shit if they did it. It's just like, dude, come on. Even if you do this, eventually, please, just release it as DLC. I will pay you directly $5 for this. Many people would. You might even make more money off of it doing this. Just make a few extra Pokemon and just put them in as DLC. That way people and that way they can be added in after the fact. And you don't have to get fucking, like, everyone data mining the game to find out what Pokemon are coming next. You just release it as DLC. That would be something. Like, then you can have complete security in the events. We'll still pay you. I know so many people who would rather do this because they would at least be able to get it. The fact is, yes, it's more inconvenient to pay that. It's more inconvenient to go out of the way, and it is easier to pay the money. But at the very least, if they did that, everyone would have a chance to get it, because likely it would probably just be $5. And that's DLC most people could afford. Meaning that we could all probably get all of these Pokemon. Let's say there's 5 of these mythical Pokemon in the game. We'd all be able to get it. We'd all have a chance. And then they can make them catchable, and they can do so much more with this. This is one of the few times I actually say, make it fucking DLC if you're not going to put it in the game. Otherwise, take it out of the game entirely and don't do anything. I don't want this anymore. Nobody wants this. Nobody likes these events. Because they're just so inconvenient, so terrible. And I'm just hoping I am hoping from the bottom of my heart that the Marshadow event isn't like this, because this has got to stop. It is horrible. Like, it is just as bad, and I'm going to say this, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but I'm going to say this here and now. I think this is just as bad, just as shitty of a move, and just as fucking evil as Call of Duty supply drops, as Mother Base coins, and as fucking King's Candy Crush. You heard me! It's just as evil and fucking horrible as Candy Crush. And you know what? You know what they did with that? You know how fucking gritty they were? You know how fucking pissed I am to say this shit. And normally I don't like to badmouth Nintendo and Game Freak, because I love their games. But when they make a mistake, or just fuck up like this, I have to say something. And I have to give you guys at Game Freak a hearty hug for making great games like Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then a hearty fuck you for even considering these events. And I think that might be more Nintendo's end, so fuck you Nintendo, just in case Game Freak isn't the one doing this. I don't know, just fuck you all. I am so fucking livid about this. It is, and I've hated this ever since the 4th gen, even then. But at least in the 4th and 3rd gen games, you could Game Shark or Action replay your game, so you could teleport into the areas where you needed to be to get it if you missed. Sure, it was cheating, but guess what? There was no alternative, so you had to cheat to get them if you missed the event. But now there's no way to do it. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely asinine, because you know how fucking hard it is to find someone to trade with it, because no one's going to ask for a legitimate price. First off, they make that a problem in the GTS where you're not allowed to trade them, but they still show the names of these Pokemon available. Meaning that you can't trade Victinis, but it shows the option to be able to ask for one. So that's fucking annoying. But there's so many other things wrong with this, and it's just, I've went over them already. I could say more, but I would be repeating myself again. And I don't know how much longer I can go with this. I've gone for 12 minutes ranting on this fucking shit so far, but it pisses me off to no end. And I just feel like it's not going to change, and that is a problem.
And you know why it's a problem? Because they need to get off their fucking asses and actually do something good other than making a good game, because, you know, you fucking ruin it by taking these experiences away from people. You know, if I can't get Marshadow, you guys fucked up big, because I hate missing out on Pokemon.
And you know what, I didn't mean that to sound as threatening as it did, I apologize. But you know what? That's the thing. I'm glad I was able to get the last few events, like the weird water fire type one that actually is pretty cool that I never use, considering they don't have a valid method to use this Pokemon, because event Pokemon aren't allowed in the battle tower and trees and whatnot. Why is that? Why are these event Pokemon and legendaries not allowed in there? These are, oh my fucking lord, why? Look, I get it, it's more of a test of what you can do without them, but why? Why make them not allowed? It just means that for single player, you're hindering us and making us not be able to use these Pokemon. That just means I can't even use Marshadow. And it's fucking weird. I want to be able to use these. That's another rant for another time. I should stop at this subject. I'll go on that rant some other time. But right now, I just want to say that why are you holding these back? They're cool Pokemon, ultimately useless because, let's face it, but they're cool. And I don't want to miss out on this kind of shit, alright? I want to have the opportunity to be able to get these Pokemon. And unfortunately, the way they have it set up right now means that a lot of people won't have the opportunity. And that's what I'm upset about. I'm upset that, and you go to their page when they announce these events, so many people are talking about how they can't get them because it's so fucking hard to find it and so inconvenient. And then you just have people going like, oh, we're betas, man, you should go get this. It's not easy, okay? Just because you managed to get it easy doesn't mean that everyone else has the same experience. Some events I was able to get easy, but other people said those were the hardest events for them to get event Pokemon for them to get a hold of during the event, or that they just couldn't find it at all. So you know what? You're full of shit. Everyone who says it's not a problem, you're full of shit, and go fuck yourself. And I know that was rude, but I don't care, because I am livid. But yeah, that's the thing. Everyone it's almost universally agreed that this is a problem. But, you know, they're not going to change anything. But we still need to speak louder about this, because that's the only way they will change it. And you know what? I'm sure that if they do this, and make it DLC that we probably will pay for anyway, that may not be the best option, but it's the only one they'll be willing to go for. And if we show them we would be willing to pay them DLC money, $5 probably, for these Pokemon, rather than them doing that, that would mean we would have the opportunity to get these Pokemon, and in more fun ways. We would have the opportunity to get them, and everyone would be able to. Maybe they'll still have the events, but they'll have DLC afterwards, so that you can still get the Pokemon if you miss the events. But maybe, just maybe, they will improve the system if we can talk about it loud enough, if we tweet at them, if we do everything we can. Maybe Pokemon Company, Game Freak, Nintendo, maybe they will all just find a way to make this better for us. There are no guarantees in this. We can't guarantee that they'll fix everything. Rome wasn't built in a day. This will take a while. But we need to show them that this is something we want, and that we want to have the equal opportunity to get our Pokemon. I was going to say some sort of meaningful hashtag here to put along with it, but I actually have nothing. So, yeah. I mean, I hope you guys can come up with a hashtag for it, because I actually have nothing. I don't know. Hopefully we can spark a movement with this. Oh my god. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I just wanted to get that out of my system. And I'll try to put some interesting footage up there to make things more entertaining. But this will be my second Pokemon rant. Holy shit, I didn't think this series could piss me off enough to do that. I mean, I didn't even bother ranting on Pokemon Go because it didn't need it, but okay. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see all you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!